I said to the judge after that introduction, "What do you expect me to do next?" You are very good. I indicated to those in charge that when I finish, if you have any questions, I'd be delighted to answer them. And if I can't, I'm going to have Elizabeth Giddings and Susan Clues to do the answering. Despite what you read in the newspaper, read in tweets, see on the TV about the economy, jobs, and the success of the stock market, more of our neighbors today are living below poverty. Our access to Justice Fund of the Michigan State Bar Foundation provides access to justice for Michigan's most vulnerable people. According to the 2018 annual report, 2 million low-income individuals have been eligible for help. 108,193 children and adults in all households were helped by civil legal aid. 12,085 vulnerable older adults were helped. 6,638 domestic violence cases were handled. 5,847 consumers were protected by civil legal aid. 2,126 veterans were given free legal help. 18,781 tenants and homeowners are facing homelessness, and there were 46,444 civil legal aid cases. I wanted to find out how your mediation services of Ottawa and Allegan counties did in 2018. So I reached out to an outstanding executive director, Elizabeth Giddings. And what I learned confirmed the pride and high regard held for your legal community and the mediation volunteers and staff from my friend who was responsible in her other life for retaining and supervising outside lawyers for the largest corporation in America. I'm talking about Susan Clues. I learned from representing Walmart that when Susan said, "Jump," I just wanted to know, how high did you need me to jump? And so when she asked if I would come up tonight, I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'd be delighted to be there." I was amazed. You served 2,015 people, 1,268 adults, and 747 children. You began restorative practices programs in area schools. In 2014, when you started working with young people, you took care of 261 children. But in 2018, you served 747 children. Your 70 active volunteer mediators mediated disputes in June, and then in June, you trained 25 new volunteers as mediators, and your mediations resolved nearly 75% of all the conflicts. So you say, well, how do you measure success? 95% of the mediation participants would recommend mediation. You clearly have an outstanding roster of volunteer mediators that are committed to your mission, your vision, and your goal of bringing resolution to conflicts. As I began to think about what I wanted to share with you this evening, I was reminded why I became a lawyer, how proud I am to be a lawyer. And for some of us, being a lawyer is a calling. For me, it was first to serve on the Michigan Supreme Court. And then I was privileged to serve as mayor of the city of Detroit. Later served on corporate boards, one of which was Johnson Controls, and was chair of the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is the largest metropolitan chamber in the United States. The knowledge and friendships I've gained by virtue of being active in bar associations, the State Bar of Michigan, our Michigan Supreme Court, and the American Bar Association, we're dealing with business and public concern of why does it take so long to resolve lawsuits? Why did it cost so much? What might be the reasonable solutions? Our Michigan Supreme Court, under the leadership of Chief Justice G. Menon Williams, were in the middle of their ongoing efforts to address those concerns when I joined the court in 1986. We in the State Bar of Michigan have been working with the Supreme Court when I was president of the State Bar in 1984-85. So was the American Bar Association, which was led in 1988-89 by an ABA president by the name of Robert Raven of San Francisco, who created an ABA entity called Dispute Resolution, which has become an outstanding American Bar Association section. So I reached out in advance of my coming here this evening to our outstanding executive director of the State Bar of Michigan, Janet Welch, and her administrative staff. I called the American Bar Association to speak with the director of the ABA Standing Committee on Legal Aid and Indigent Defendants, and to the ABA section of Dispute Resolution. Here is what I learned from the Access to Justice through Alternative Dispute Resolution white paper, the ABA section of Dispute Resolution Task Force on Access to Justice and Alternative Dispute Resolution, all of which I'm about to tell you is from that white paper. A large gap exists between people who need access to legal services and those who can afford legal services. The income restrictions are so low that often only the poor are eligible for services. As a result, many people represent themselves when resolving legal problems, often with little success. Access to Justice initiatives have been researching these issues and attempting to make legal services more readily available to low-income individuals. The American Bar Association has been a national leader in that area. The natural synergy of access to justice and alternative dispute resolution, or ADR, process is often overlooked because of the court-centered focus on most access to justice projects and research. When access to justice is defined more broadly, the use of processes such as mediation, arbitration, negotiation, and other alternatives fits naturally in solving these problems. The task force recognized that pro se litigations face a steep challenge in court with low odds of a favorable outcome. Access to mediation is one way to increase an individual disputant's access to justice. An unrepresentative litigant can take advantage of the mediation's flexibility and informality in the hopes of coming to a resolution to the situation. Connecting volunteer mediators who want to provide pro bono mediation services to individuals who want to participate in mediation can be accomplished through Mediator of the Day programs set up in local jurisdictions, particularly in small claim courts level. Some jurisdictions have programs called Settlement Day or Settlement Week, in which private mediators donate their time to resolve civil cases. Community mediation centers are a wonderful resource for those who may need to have free mediation services. Community mediation centers are defined by the National Association of Community Mediation, are generally characterized by or are committed to private, nonprofit, or public agencies or programs thereof, with mediators, staff, governing advisory board representative of the diversity of the community, used trained community volunteers as providers of mediation services. The practice of mediation is open to all persons. Provide direct access to the public through self-referral. Strive to reduce barriers to service, including physical, linguistic, cultural, programmatic, and economic, and provide services to clients regardless of their ability to pay. Provide services in hiring without discrimination. Provide a forum for dispute resolution at the earliest stage of conflict. Provide an alternative to the judicial system at any stage of a conflict. Many community mediation centers offer free services for people within their service areas. Online dispute resolution or ODR also provides an opportunity for increased access to justice for individuals with legal and other disputes. The ODR umbrella includes a large range of services that utilize technology to help resolve disputes. Those technologies can be as simple as an email correspondence or as complex as using a platform to complete an entire mediation session online. ODR offers a variety of benefits, especially for those of limited means. ODR can significantly cut costs associated with travel time because individuals can participate from their home or places nearby. The cost of an experience neutral may also be lower if travel costs are greatly reduced or eliminated. Although ODR offers these and other advantages, the process is not without some concerns. Not everyone has access to reliable equipment or services that would be ideal for ODR. Even in this day and age, excuse me, not everyone owns a computer, and not every computer owner has access to high-speed services necessary for some ODR platforms. Another disadvantage of ODR is the loss of communication dimensions that are present in face-to-face negotiations. Many codes of professional conduct and ethics have aspirational goals for the amount of pro bono hours for the members of profession. For instance, the American Bar Association Model Rules of Professional Conduct for Lawyers suggest that they should aspire to at least 50 hours of pro bono legal services per year. Finally, this paper recommends that services to unsophisticated parties be user-friendly, understandable, and online. As noted, many pro se litigants in the justice system lose their cases, in part because the system is complicated and difficult to navigate. Access to justice could be increased by disseminating legal information in a format that is accessible, readable, and user-friendly. Other jurisdictions have made available a comprehensive list of online forms that could aid self-represented litigants. The purpose for the litigants being able to determine what information they need and complete legal forms with little assistance. Fillable forms do help those who have computer access and know where to find them. Making this type of legal information readable and easy to find can help an access to justice plan. Increasing funding would greatly aid access to justice including providing no or low-cost ADR services. Let me repeat that. Increased funding would greatly aid access to justice, including providing no or low-cost ADR services. Nonetheless, increasing funding for ADR services would be a tremendous step towards making recommendations of this paper a reality. Funding sources could come from a variety of places, including sliding fees based upon ability to pay, court filing fees, settlements, government funds, grant funding, private donations, income generating services such as training and other creative funding sources. I encourage you, as you think about where you want to go in the next 5 to 10 years, with this outstanding program that you will find yourself in, that you might want to take a look at that white paper to see what steps or what areas you might want to consider next. I remember a time when during the day we would maybe be shopping and you're in an area where they're advertising television for sale, or somebody turns a television on somewhere in the office, and you will see as the commentators from CNN or NBC or ABC or some national television stations, and you learn that what we're watching is a situation where someone has been evicted from their home, or someone's car has been repossessed, or someone has lost their job. One can only imagine, out of desperation, out of having no one to talk to or to seek help, they went to the place of their frustration and took a gun and shot people that they thought caused them harm. And we would see all of this and hear about it unfolding on national television. Today, of course, we regrettably see more mass things take place, and it's not because of the things that cause you all to do the great things that you do, helping people in the community in which you live in both counties. But that's what we used to see. We didn't see the things that are on television today that are related to hate crimes and the like. But all of that, you think back on it now, you don't see on television anymore. You don't see that sense of frustration and anger anymore. And it's because of all of you in this room and others like you all across America in law firms and legal services and the services that you provide, because you help people deal with a sense of frustration, a sense of hopelessness, and even if they don't win what they're looking for, you listened to them, you heard them, you showed them respect, you explained to them what occurred and what you must deal with. When I resigned from the Michigan Supreme Court in 1990 to consider running for mayor, the 1990 census revealed that the city of Detroit led the nation with the highest percentage of people living below poverty. 32.2% of our citizens live below poverty. And when you factored in the children who lived in their homes, 46.6% of our children living in Detroit live below poverty. We needed jobs in our city. We had children who were fighting, injuring, and sometimes even killing each other over jackets and designer sunglasses. With the help of a great federal and state administration and the outstanding business, civic, community organization of the community itself, and foundation support, we generated, as Judge Post noted, thousands of new jobs and experienced $20.2 billion of investment in the city of Detroit. We created a new reputation, an image as a comeback city, which many say today laid the foundation for the progress on display in Detroit today. The Mediation Services of Ottawa and Allegan counties have an impressive list of donors. As your income service reveals, that you raised $451,258.95. You even waived $16,000 in fees for those with financial need. Your very reasonable expenses were $455,258.95. I don't know where you get that 95 cents. You seem to be. As I indicated before, your grant and financial services is impressive. However, as I started my remarks, the legal need has grown and could impact the stability of your counties. Therefore, I encourage you to contribute even more to help your communities continue its civility and outreach, to help maintain family stability, which reduces pain, hopelessness, and sometimes can ultimately produce crime. You can do that by increasing your monetary commitment to help meet the legal needs of those who do not have the ability at the moment to lift themselves up and out of despair. Listen to what two young people will share with you this evening. Hear them well. And then when my good friend comes up to ask for your continued support, be generous. Now, as promised, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
So I have a mic, and I'd be glad to bring it around if anyone has any questions.
Stand up and just...
I don't need that thing to work.
Okay. Go ahead, grab it.
Oh, Judge, at the end of my career here, I'm having to deal with these new civil court rules. I suppose you've looked through those. And in the discovery section, there's a new ability to have disputes about the scope of discovery mediated. Do you have any thoughts about that? And should something like mediation services begin to get involved in spitting matches between lawyers about how many interrogatories we send each other and so forth? Because I found it surprising that it was in there.
Well, let me first ask a question, if you don't mind. One of the things that I found that when I was privileged to serve on the Michigan Supreme Court, because I always continue to participate in bar association activities on the lawyer's side, as well as going to judicial meetings, is that I would inevitably find somebody coming up and asking me, how could you all do something so stupid as to pass this rule? And you know what I would ask them? When you saw that rule that was out there for comment, did you bother? Or did the local bar association bother to share with the court what you thought about that proposed rules and whether or not they should be modified at all? Now, having said that, you don't have to answer. Let me just simply say that what I think we're all trying to do, bench and bar, is to make the great work that lawyers do on behalf of their clients as easy as humanly possible, and to try to reduce a recurrence of, you might recall a number of years ago, the American Bar led the initiative and went to its local and state bar affiliates and asked them to, let's work together to stop this Rambo kind of practice. Judging from the members of the bench and bar that I've met here this evening and I've known for years, you didn't experience it here, but they experience it in larger cities around the state and around the country. So I would look to see whether or not how the mediation services could work out if there's a problem. My sense is you wouldn't have or shouldn't have those issues or those problems here in these two outstanding counties. Now you come down to Wayne or come to Macomb or come to Oakland County, that's a different ballgame. That's my best response. I want you to know I've been asked a lot of questions, and I thank you for not asking any more. I don't need to answer anything. You've got two outstanding students that you're going to hear from, and I just want to thank you for the privilege to come before you so that I could personally say thank you for all that you do to make life different or make a difference in the lives of those who at the moment need some help. Every now and then we all need help. It may not be monetary, but sometimes we need help. And isn't it nice when you've got people who care enough about you that they want to help you to be able to get over whatever it is so that you can get on with your respective lives. You've got a great community. Keep it up. Thank you.